The National Lotteries Authority is fast under scrutiny following investigations revealing millions of Ghana cedis donated to well-to-do individuals and organizations instead of the poor. In 2021, the NLA, under the leadership of Sammy Awuku, its then Director General, set up what it calls the Good Causes Foundation. But according to latest investigations by the Fourth Estate, the funds meant for the poor and orphans allegedly was blown on awards, galas, and the rich. Before we get into it and speak to the Associate Editor of the Fourth Estate, Seth Bokpe, let's run by you some of the details on why the Caritas unit was set up and some of the organizations that benefited from the funds. And we're going to go back to our dashboard really quickly as to what it is that we have in there. And so it was established in 2021. It's named the Good Causes Foundation, rebranding NLA's Special Projects Department, and it's backed by Act 722 of 2006. The foundation's mandate covers health, education, youth and sports development, and then arts and culture. But let's get into the expenditures as we saw it. That came through from there, just briefly in terms of what we can expect. Right, we don't seem to have the expenditures just as yet. Let's speak to Seth Bokpe right now and get a bit more in terms of what exactly it is the concerns are from there. Seth Bokpe is joining us this time on Zoom, so we can get a bit more in terms from him on this. Mr. Bokpe, thank you very much for speaking to us this afternoon. Walk us through a bit more in terms of the revelations and how concerning these findings are.
Very much, Eric, for having me. So, at 722, which established the NLA, recognized the need to use lottery money, parts of the lottery money we get to support the vulnerable. Specifically, Section 2.3 of the Act says that there shall be a lottery which proceeds shall be used for supporting the aged, the orphans, the destitute children, and mentally afflicted. Recognizing this, when Mr. Awuku came to office, on June 8, 2022, they registered the Good Causes Foundation, which means that it has become a separate entity from the NLA. Now, what we notice is that funds that they raised through the Caritas Lottery Platform, the Caritas Lottery Platform was designated as the main source of funding for the Good Causes Foundation. But we notice that the disbursement does not really conform with what the law says.
Which is providing for the poor and the needy. For instance,
say that again.
I'm asking which was providing for the poor and needy, destitute, mentally challenged, amongst others.
Exactly. If you look at the data we've put out so far, the disbursement does not in any way support what the objects of the law said, and even the registration details. If I'm permitted to read the registration details, they said that they will provide support and relief to the marginalized in society, the vulnerable, people with disabilities, orphans, widows, the elderly, and impoverished communities. Now, when you look at what they have done so far, for instance, 350,000 cedis to the Chief Executive Network for the CEO's Summit and Awards. How is that beneficial to the destitute, the poor, the mentally afflicted?
Right.
If you look at the 50,000 they pumped into the free SHS 5th anniversary celebration. I mean, at the time, even school kids in our senior high schools were struggling to get food. If you look at the 50,000 cedis they gave to Mohammed Damu Ramadan MP for Adenta to buy a motorbike.
Right. So
the Adenta member, how does that inure to the benefit of the poor orphan in the Osu orphanage?
There's a counter argument. There's a counter argument that's coming from the former Director General of the NLA, amongst many other things, where he's detailing the law which establishes them and saying that amongst many other things they could have supported arts and culture. Reason why we're seeing some of the monies going into other areas, and that in certain instances when the money was above 100,000, then it was granted at the express permission of the board of the NLA.
That sounds like shifting blame, really, because the law is explicit. It said there shall be conducted as part of the operations of the National Lottery Authority a lottery with the object of providing care and protection for the physically or mentally afflicted, the needy, the aged, orphans and destitute children. Where in the law does it say that the board has the discretion to sponsor Paris, cry in Paris? Where in the law does it state that the NLA can sponsor the Ministry of Public Enterprises to go on a steady tour of Singapore, where there's no justification for any of that expenditure? Secondly, he speaks about raising 11 million cedis from the Caritas platform, and that he used only 5% of those funds to do what we call what we are questioning, the questionable enterprises. Yeah. But guess what, Egbert? He is being economic with the truth. Here's the reason. He spent 2 million cedis from these funds to provide astroturf in his constituency. He spent 130,000 to support the construction of police posts in his constituency. Both together, that's about a little over 2.1 million cedis, right? That alone is about 19.2% of the Caritas money in only his constituency.
What would be your expectation of investigative bodies now that these facts have come up? There are those who are saying it should not just end here. Is there a petition, CID, an agency where you're asking them to look into these revelations that you've brought forward?
We have not petitioned anyone yet because this is just a tip of the iceberg. The real stories will begin to flow next week. Very soon. The bigger story, the bigger picture about the NLA during his tenure and during his predecessor's tenure will begin to flow next week. So we've not petitioned anyone at the moment.
Right.
If they decide to be proactive and take it on, that's fine.
Right. Right. We look, Mr. Awuku, we look forward to the real matters and a bit more from there. But I appreciate you speaking to us. He's a deputy editor at the Fourth Estate, speaking to us, and we have tried to as well get a response from Sammy Awuku, who is a former Director General of the National Lotteries Authority, as to exactly what he makes of these allegations and if there can be a direct response. Unfortunately, we've been unable to get that for you just as yet, but that's the situation as we have it, and the Fourth Estate says there's a lot more expected, and we'll look forward to it. But that's